She said it with a smile, casual, almost dismissive. It's just dinner with an old friend. Her eyes flicked up from the mirror as she clipped in her earrings, tone light, like she was humoring a toddler's jealousy. You remember Aaron, right? From college? Aaron. Yeah, I remembered. He was the one who used to call her Red, in a way that lingered just a little too long, like the nickname itself was a memory. He was the one who showed up in an old group photo I found on our fridge when we moved in together. A tangle of limbs on some beach, him with a guitar, and her in a sundress that clung to summer. Back then, I didn't think much of it. He was the past. I was the present. The ring on her finger made that clear. Or so I thought. I didn't argue when she mentioned dinner. Didn't raise an eyebrow. I played it cool. Maybe too cool. Because if I had even flinched, she might have read me differently. She might have known I was already feeling the distance. But that's the thing with distance. It doesn't announce itself like a slammed door. It slips in quietly, like the pause before a kiss that never comes. That week, things felt off. I couldn't name it. She was still affectionate, still laughed at my dumb jokes. But there was something beneath the surface, like she was always half elsewhere. Her texts were slower, shorter. Her eyes lingered on her phone longer than before. When she came home that Friday night, late, smelling like saffron and sandalwood, she said, "He's doing well. Still tells the worst jokes." Then she curled up on the couch like nothing had changed. But something had. I couldn't sleep. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of her breathing. Rhythmic, peaceful, like the world hadn't tilted beneath us. Over the next few weeks, Aaron became an echo, a name that came up more often than it should have. Aaron's opening a new gallery. Aaron says that book you're reading is overrated. Aaron ran into Julie from freshman year. Can you believe she's got 3 kids now? He slipped into our lives like a shadow stretching at dusk. I didn't confront her. Maybe I should have. But I've never been one for drama. I'm the kind of guy who keeps receipts, literally and figuratively. I watch. I observe. And I started noticing patterns. The texts came late, sometimes after midnight. The way she'd get quiet when I walked into the room. The sudden interest in Pilates. The new dress, black, form-fitting, too elegant for casual catch-ups. Still, I said nothing. Maybe I didn't want to know. Maybe I hoped it would pass. Or maybe, deep down, I was afraid the truth would confirm what my gut already knew. She wasn't all the way mine anymore. One Saturday, I stopped by her favorite cafe to surprise her. She said she'd be working there for a few hours, grading papers. She taught part-time at the community college, a job she loved. I brought her favorite pastry and a coffee with cinnamon, the way she liked. She wasn't there. Her car was, though, parked a few blocks away. I stood there for a while, heart pounding, pastry in hand, until I saw them. Not inside the cafe. Inside his car. It was parked down the street, facing the lake. Their silhouettes through the windshield, close. Too close. I didn't need a zoom lens or a PI to know what I saw. Her head tilted back in laughter. His hand, not on the wheel, not on the door, but somewhere intimate. Familiar. Her smile. Unguarded, raw, not the one I'd seen in months. I didn't walk up to the car. I didn't knock on the window. I turned around and left the pastry on a bench. That night, I said nothing. Again, she came home smiling, said she got a lot of grading done. I nodded, asked her if she wanted Thai or pizza for dinner. She chose Thai. I ordered both. And still, I didn't confront her. A week later, I saw it on the news. I was at the gym, treadmill humming beneath me, a screen overhead showing muted footage of flashing lights, crumpled steel, and the words breaking, local artist involved in rollover crash on I-90. At first, I didn't pay attention. Then I saw the car. Black. European. Sleek. I froze. They showed the passenger's side. Mangled. Door nearly torn off. Then came the names. Aaron Dalton, 37, was driving the vehicle when it flipped after swerving to avoid a collision. Passenger identified as. And that's when I stopped breathing. Her name. My wife. I dropped my phone. It clattered to the floor. People around me kept running, oblivious. The world didn't stop, but mine did. I stood there, staring at the screen, at the wreckage that had once been his car. My ears rang. My throat tightened. They said she was alive, airlifted, in stable condition. No critical injuries. She survived. And for one impossible moment, I didn't know what I felt. Relief? Rage? Grief? Because it wasn't just a crash. It was a reveal. Everything I'd feared, everything she denied, was now out in the open, bleeding across a highway and splashed across morning news. And the worst part? I hadn't even asked the question yet. They let me see her the next morning. By then, her parents were already at the hospital. Her mother hugged me too tight, like she knew she shouldn't, but couldn't help herself. Her father just nodded, wary, silent. We hadn't been close since the wedding. He always thought I was too cautious, too safe. I guess now I understood what he meant. She was awake when I stepped into the room. Bruised. Fragile. Her left arm was in a sling, and there was a gash across her eyebrow that made her look almost cinematic, like a heroine in a tragic love story. Only, I wasn't sure anymore who the tragedy belonged to. "Hey," she whispered. "Hey," I said, sitting down beside her bed. "How are you feeling?" She smiled weakly, eyes glassy from whatever meds they had her on. Like I got hit by a truck. Close enough, I thought. But I just nodded. For a while, we didn't talk. The machines beeped softly in the background. She reached for my hand, her good one, and I let her take it. It was instinct. Familiarity. A ghost of the life we still pretended we had. "I was scared you weren't gonna come," she said. "Why wouldn't I?" She looked away. "I figured you'd seen the news." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. My silence said more than I ever could. That night, I went home and sat in the dark. The house felt too quiet. Her shoes by the door. A half-finished mug of tea in the sink. A book face down on the couch. Our life paused mid-sentence. I scrolled through the news articles again. There were photos now, blurry shots of the car flipped on its side. One image showed her being carried away on a stretcher, face pale but alive. Another showed Aaron, his name now trending, his head bandaged, looking directly at the camera, like he knew what it would mean, having her there, in his car, that late at night. The official story said they were on their way back from a private art show. His gallery, of course. An intimate event for close friends and colleagues. There were no other names listed. No other friends. Just the two of them, driving through the rain on a slick highway. I started making a list. It's something I do when I feel helpless. I make lists. I don't know if it's a coping mechanism or just a bad habit. But this one felt necessary. Questions. 1. How long had it been going on? 2. Did she love him? 3. Why didn't she tell me? 4. Was she planning to? 5. Why did she still wear the ring? I stared at that last one the longest. Because she was still wearing it. Even in the hospital. Bruised hand. Fur in her arm. But the ring was still there. The next day, I asked her, "Why didn't you tell me?" We were alone. Her parents had gone home for the night. The nurse had just stepped out. She looked tired, less polished, more real. Her voice, when she answered, was barely audible. "I didn't want to hurt you." I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because of the absurdity of it. Like a surgeon saying they didn't want to cause pain while slicing into skin. "Hurt me?" I repeated. "You were in his car. After midnight. On the interstate. That wasn't just dinner. That was something else." She looked down, picked at the blanket. Her shoulders shook a little. "It started as dinner," she whispered. "It was just dinner. I swear." I didn't interrupt. I let her talk. I needed to hear it, even if it gutted me. "He reached out a few months ago, just catching up. It felt harmless. And I don't know. I was lonely. You've been so busy. So distant." That part stung. Because it was true. I had been distant. But not from disinterest. From something else. Something I didn't know how to explain. Fear, maybe. That slow fear that creeps in when the person you love starts feeling like a stranger in your own home. "I never meant for it to become anything," she said, voice cracking. "But it did. And I didn't know how to stop it." I stared at her. At the woman I'd married. The woman I'd made waffles for every Sunday morning. The woman who once cried when we bought our first couch together because it made us feel like real adults. I didn't recognize her. Or maybe I did. And that was the real heartbreak. "You could have told me," I said. "I would have. I don't know. Maybe we could have worked through it." She met my eyes then. And there it was. The truth. Naked and trembling. I didn't think I wanted to. That line hit harder than the headline. She didn't think she wanted to. Not to save it. Not to confess. Not to fight for us. She wasn't confused. She was choosing. And yet, here she was. In a hospital bed. Her hand in mine. Her voice soft. Eyes pleading. Like maybe she didn't know what she wanted after all. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I stood up. Let her hand slip from mine. "I believe you," I said. "That you're sorry." And I did. But sorry is a bruise, not a stitch. You still bleed after. I didn't go back the next day. She texted once, just, are you okay? And I didn't respond. Because I wasn't. I wasn't okay. And for the first time, I wasn't pretending I was. Instead, I went for a drive. Nowhere special. Just out. The kind of drive you take when the walls of your own house start whispering your doubts back to you. I didn't even realize I was heading toward the lake until I saw the water through the trees, still and gray, a reflection of everything I felt inside. That's where I saw them once, months before the crash. That memory returned uninvited. I'd parked by the same overlook on a day just like this, overcast, quiet, and caught their silhouettes in Aaron's car, her hand on his neck, his lips grazing her knuckles. Back then, I told myself it could be innocent. A joke, a moment taken out of context. Funny how truth doesn't always come like thunder. Sometimes it creeps in like fog, until you're surrounded and you don't even realize you're lost. That afternoon, sitting in my car by the water, I let it all in. She loved him. Or part of her did. The part that missed feeling seen, maybe. The part that wanted the thrill of something untouched by routine. I don't even think it was about him, not entirely. It was about something inside her that I couldn't fix, something that longed for the version of herself she used to be. And I saw my part in it too. How often I turned away when she needed me. How often I drowned in my work, in deadlines, in being stable. I gave her security, yes. But in giving her security, I may have starved the intimacy. None of that excused what she did, but it explained the fracture. Sometimes marriages don't explode. They erode. The crash changed everything, and yet, nothing. She came home a week later. Her recovery was smooth, mostly physical. But our emotional fractures sat between us like broken glass no one wanted to sweep. We tried. For a little while. We made coffee in the same kitchen, slept in the same bed, though she curled toward the edge now. We talked about small things, groceries, bills, her physical therapy, but never about him, or us, or the car, or the fact that the scar above her eyebrow would never fade completely. One night, I asked her directly, "Do you want to stay?" She didn't answer for a long time, just stared out the window. "I don't know," she finally said. That was the answer. A few days later, I came home and found a note on the kitchen table. Just one line. "I need to find out who I am without you." She left her key beneath the note. No drama, no confrontation, just quiet. And for the first time in months, I felt something unexpected. Relief. Months passed. People stopped asking. The news cycle forgot. Aaron moved to Chicago, or so I heard. His gallery quietly shut down. No scandal. No fireworks. Just another man with a damaged brand and an expensive lawyer. As for her, I don't know where she is now. Last I heard, she was teaching full-time again, somewhere upstate. Starting fresh. I think she kept the ring for a while, maybe as a reminder. Or a penance. I don't hate her. I wish I could say I did, but I don't. Because we were real. Once. We danced barefoot in the kitchen. We cried at the same movie, at the same exact scene. We held each other through funerals, job losses, miscarriages, sleepless nights. There was love. So much of it. Enough that it still echoes when I walk past our old favorite bakery. And maybe that's the hardest part. Knowing that love can be real and still not be enough. I'm still learning to live with that. These days, I walk more. I cook for one. I listen to jazz. I started sketching again, something I hadn't done since college. I meet friends for coffee, and sometimes I even laugh. Healing isn't linear, but it's happening. One quiet morning, a letter arrived. No return address. Just her handwriting. Inside, a photo of the lake. The caption on the back said, "That day, I was thinking of you." No signature. I placed it in a drawer, closed it gently, and made myself a cup of coffee. Because sometimes closure isn't about answers. It's about knowing the story ended, and you're still here. Still breathing. Still becoming.